Hola, senors. What's going on? Welcome back to Real Reds Talk, your favourite football fan channel made in Manchester. And today we're going to be talking some swap deals. Some swap deals you can see on the YouTube straight off the bat and probably on, well, you can't see it on TikTok. But Jared Branthwaite, Harry Maguire, both going opposite ways, why that could really work for us. I want to talk about that. I want to talk about Romano, who's updated us on Elise and the situation with his release clause and all that kind of stuff. Thomas Tuchel furious with Bayern Munich. Will he have a point to prove in the Premier League? And plus, we've got some updates as well on the game for tomorrow in terms of who's going to be available and fit and ready to go as we're kind of piecing puzzles again, you know, kind of heading into a game. So, yeah, Sunday. Got a lot of stuff to talk about. We've got a show tonight as well, which we did have planned yesterday, which messed up completely. So apologies about that. That was on me. But we're going to have another show tonight at 7 o'clock where we are basically going to be breaking down the budget. And me and Chivy are going to offer Sam some kind of options, of alternative options, what we can go for, and try kind of fit as much into that, which kind of plays into the show today as well, because there's a few things that I could just mention with Elise, Maguire and Branthwaite with a swap deal. So there's a few things that kind of intertwine with each other. But I'm going to kick things off with the Maguire swap deal. So I've seen quite a lot of reports on this. No one like an Ornstein or Romano, which has to be said, but I have seen quite a lot of noise around it. And I don't notice people putting 2 and 2 together and getting 5. But if you think about it, realistically, it does make sense. So stylistically, it suits both parties. What is Harry Maguire good at first and foremost? Defending the edge of his box, aerial duels, physical strength. He's a decent leader, you would say. Wasn't a great captain, but he's a decent leader. Trains hard, you know, everything you want from kind of a model professional and footballer, you want that. Now, Sean Dyche, listening to that, is also sat there going, purring like a cat. I think Sean Dyche would love someone like Harry Maguire at Everton. So let me put that out there first and foremost. I think Maguire would suit them down to the ground. I think he'd be a really good fucking player for him. And at the moment he's at in his career, it's not too much of a bad move, although he may disagree. He may think he's above that, which I'll get into also. You've also got to box clever with these kind of deals. So Ineos are going into this summer. Now, some of the budgets that have been reported is 100 million quid, right? They want to talk about, I mean, how many players you can get with that in today's market? You probably can't even get 2, but you could probably, at a push, get 2 players for 100 million quid. So are they going to look at swap deals? Are they going to look at free agents, like a Ross Barkley, for example? What are they going to look at loan deals? I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. Are they going to inject some cash, some further cash? Are they relying on sales? There's a lot of up in the air at the moment, but you imagine the usual kind of stuff you get from Manchester United is, oh, we need player sales, we need this. But in a weird way, we spend more when we go out of the Champions League. Facts. You know, when we go out of the Champions League, we usually spend around 150 to 180 million quid, I think it is, so we can push ourselves back up into that top 4. When we land Champions League, we spend less, you know, like 90 million quid, 90 million to 100 million pound. So you would think with that kind of ideology that we will go into this summer and we'll spend more. But again, things that have been reported, 100 million pound. So that's what I'm saying. You need to box clever with these kind of deals. First and foremost, I don't think it'd happen simply because of his wages. That's a big one. The reason why we couldn't move him on to West Ham when we was trying to sell him for 30 million quid was the fact that he's on so much money at United, 200 grand a week. I mean, I don't even know if anyone at Everton is on that currently. Let's take a look. Let's have a look. Because I'd be curious. I don't think anyone at Everton's on that. Who's the highest earner, do we think, at Everton? Everton wage bill. Let's have a look. It's in comparison to everyone else's, it's just going to be, yeah, nowhere near it. Usually they have like a, what's that website that you have? It's like Scowl Report or something like that. Everton player salaries. Let's have a look. All right, so, yeah, the most someone is on at Everton is 120 grand a week. And that's a player who doesn't even start for him. That's Andre Gomez. Jordan Pickford's on 110 grand a week. Dele Alli, 100 grand a week. So, yeah, what's Branthwaite on? Jeez, I can't even see his name. Jared Branthwaite is currently on £15,000 a week. 15 grand a week. Harry Maguire is on 200 grand a week, which is double than their highest earner, pretty much. So you can already see the issues that you would probably have there, right? Yeah, some people someone just put in the chat there, Sean, saying I'm not sold on Branthwaite. Charlie saying I don't see a swap deal happening. They're really hard to do. Lumen saying big up, bro. Big up to you as well. I hope you're having a nice Sunday and I've had a nice weekend overall. Dube Snow says Maguire's been so good this season. I agree. But yeah, you can see just from the financial issues there, Branthwaite 15k a week, Maguire 200 grand a week. So I appreciate it's unrealistic. And I know swap deals are really hard. Transfers are really hard to do in general because you've got agents that have got the fingers dipped in pies and they want a certain commission from it. And then you've got like a load of other factors like sponsorships and TV rights and a load of nonsense that goes into it basically. So when you put two players into the mix where you want to do a swap deal, it's near impossible. I remember that with the Mkhitaryan and the Sanchez deal, it was just like awkward, even though you had both parties wanting to go. So yeah, I don't think it's going to happen, but I just think it's an interesting concept. Maybe that could happen with, a different kind of set of players. We're trying to offload, let's say Elise, for example, who I'm going to talk about very, very shortly. Could we offer Wan-Bissaka the other way? Take 30 mil off the... Do you know what I mean? It's more FIFA deals where you talk about swap deals, and they are very, very unrealistic, which I take your point on that. But maybe we could do something. I don't know, man. I don't know. We should be selling Maguire for money. To be fair, I think if you're looking to get the most for him, right now would probably be the best time to sell him on it, because I know he's 30, 31, but since he's joined the club, the only thing he's really done is depreciate his value, especially when he was captain for a couple of years. His value's just gone plummeted completely. So, like, people are saying they'd sell him for, like, fucking 20 million or whatever. You look at West Ham, they put in was it 30 million bid? I think it was. Now you're looking at it and you're like, he's definitely worth 35, 40 mil, right? Would we agree with that? Or am I off in my evaluation there? Surely you get 35 to 40 mil after the season he's just had. I know he's got a year older, but centre-backs typically can go for a bit, can't they? I mean, look at Thiago Silva. Still playing at the age of, like, 38. So I'd like to think you get at least 30 to 40 million quid for him. And after the season he's just had, how important it's been for us. I mentioned at the start of the show, look at all of his quality. He's perfect for someone like an Everton. Or he's perfect for West Ham. Like, they would squeeze the most juice out of that fruit if they got him. And that's why I think it'd be perfect time. If you don't sell him now, I'm not sure what happens down the line then. But also at the same time, we can't sell all of our centre-backs. So that's why it makes it fascinating this summer. And just whilst I'm on the topic of that, today I'm filming a tier list video for this summer in terms of players I would let go. So we have a load of, like, from red all the way down to green tiers in which player goes in which category, and that's going to be another kind of members video, so keep an eye out for that. But yeah, we'll move the conversation on to Elise, because I did just mention him. Fabrizio Romano literally put a report out, I think it was about 30 minutes ago or something. Manchester United remain one of several clubs in the race for Michael Elise as release clause in region of £60 million, which will be active this summer. Ineos people already tracking him, well informed on all details, but also aware of competition. He's one of the names monitored, which I thought was interesting. We always see monitored, don't we, as this kind of thing that's thrown out there. But I remember Ornstein putting a tweet out a couple of weeks ago saying that Michael Elise is only interested in Champions League, clubs that are in the Champions League, which is only a select few. So you're talking Liverpool, Arsenal. I doubt it's going to be Villa. Would Man City sign him? I'm not sure. I think there's been interest before, aren't there? So maybe it depends what happens with Bernardo Silva. Maybe they will, kind of strike when the iron's hot. I'm not entirely sure. Would he suit us, first and foremost? From what I've seen, both in settled possession and in the transition, he's really, really good. People kind of slate him a little bit for his work rate off the ball, but he's actually not that bad. Like, in terms of tracking, I mean, in terms of duels, he's not great, I don't think, but, like, tracking back, he's absolutely fine at that. Ability on both feet, fantastic from set pieces. A creative winger, which United are absolutely crying out for, because Garnacho's greedy, Antony's greedy, Marcus Rashford is greedy. So, if anything, I think the most happiest person, at Old Trafford would be Rasmus Højlund if we signed Elise, because he does find his striker, he does put crosses into the box, and that's why a lot of people were kind of pushing Pellistri at the time, because he's the only winger who would do that, but he weren't good. He didn't have the quality enough to do it on a consistent basis, in my opinion. So I think someone like Elise would be absolutely mega for us. I think he's worth the money. There are two concerns that I have with Elise, right? And I'm going to read out all your comments on him in a minute, because I love to hear your opinions. Just to get a general consensus, because it does kind of feel a bit like one of them trending signings, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean? But one is injury issues. Now, I know people have put online and journalists who kind of follow Crystal Palace closely have put he kind of got rushed back a little bit with certain injuries, and that's why he had setbacks, similar to what's happened with a couple of our players, your Shaws or Lissandros or whatever. So maybe that is the case. I'm not entirely sure. But one is injuries, because we need players who can be available and consistent. That is the one mega factor for me going into the summer. Do not sign injury-prone players, please, for the love of God. Don't do it. So that's one thing. The second thing is it a priority position? I was mentioning the budget before that United have, 100 million quid, let's say, even if it's 150 million quid. Apparently, we want 2 centre-backs. We want a left-back. We want a defensive midfielder. We need another striker for Rasmus. Frimpong's been linked with us. And you're getting a creative winger. Where the fuck have we got a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow or something? Where's this money coming from? That's what I'm saying. So a lot of the links, I don't know. That's why I'm monitoring. We're not going to sign a right winger, a striker, a DM, a left back, 2 centre backs. Like it's not going to happen, is it? So I don't know. I don't know where they're going to find the money for it. I think if we sell really well, maybe. But apart from that, I can't see a way where we're going to buy him, especially with the competition as well. Like, how can you sell it to... I know Elise is at Crystal Palace, so whichever way you look at it, step up to United. But, probably going to be in the Conference League. Probably won't win a trophy this season, I'm guessing. Other clubs, you just have to be honest. Even as a United fan, I can sit here and say, like, is it an attractive proposition for players currently? I don't know. We don't need more wingers. We got too much. To be honest, personally, I'd just go with Ahmad. I'd promote Ahmad, but for whatever reason, Ten Hag don't like him. But what's the point of spending 30-odd million quid on a youngster to not play him? It makes absolutely no sense. Sahil Hussein says, not very excited for Crystal Palace game. We've got some updates on that, which I'm going to get into in a minute, so do stick around. Please do leave a like on the video for us and hit that subscribe button as well. We're on 4,953 subs. We're trying to hit 5k. We're getting closer and closer. We're 47 subs off it, so if you aren't subscribed yet, please do click that button. Sean saying, is there something I'm missing with Branthwaite? For that type of outlay, we need proven, not potential. I'd rather spunk that amount of money on Antonio Silva, who is levels above Branthwaite. With Ineos, I think they are kind of taking a little bit of a Brexit approach. And I think since Brexit, it makes it, I think, more difficult to sign foreign players. So that's why I see a lot of clubs pushing for kind of British talents or the Premier League talents. And you get that kind of brand, don't you? That Premier League proven, which people hate saying. It's almost like a banned word or whatever. But I don't know. I like him, but I've also seen games from him at the same time where he has looked a little bit suspicious. Like in the Chelsea game, he was awful. But all-around game, I think is pretty decent from what I saw, seen, whatever. Manlu Tata says, I'm confused. Maguire isn't goof for United, but gives his all. But if we are bulk clearing, it's fine. Time for complete change. Dino says, I'd rather sell Maguire and use that money on Tadibo and someone else. That Nottingham Forest centre-back is better than Branthwaite. I like how this is trending, by the way. It's not Jared Branthwaite. From now on, permanently, it is Jared Branthwaite. Can we just, if we can all get on that train, that'd be absolutely amazing. Gray Sheridan says, you can sell all of our centre-backs. Tadibo would only be £30 million. Get Tosin for free and scout for a younger centre-back. Look what Liverpool did with their midfield. Exactly, you don't always have to go purely just with whoever the most expensive British signing is. You could do your due diligence and find some scouting. Charlie Malm says, these players are most likely to be sold in summer. Scotty, Maguire, Wan-Bissaka, Ahmad, Lindelof, Ericsson, Scotty, Kambwala will get new contracts, I think, but these guys have their contracts up next year. Please do keep an eye out for that tier list that I'm going to do. That's getting filmed today, and it should be a really good video, so that will kind of take all of that into context. Why not change to 2-striker formation? It would suit our team. Ten Hag's too stubborn, won't do it. Rashford's the worst striker I've ever seen in the Prem. He cannot hold that role. Ahmad is not a striker. Garnacho could maybe play up top, but he'd be better centre mid. I could see Garnacho in a 2, to be honest with you. Do you like when was it against Liverpool when we played Dan James and Rashford as like I'm sure we played like a back 5 and then we had 2 things. I could see Garnacho in one of them roles. I think it'd suit that. But listen, if you think Ten Hag's going to change his formation, I don't know what you're smoking, but I will happily have some of that because he won't. Too stubborn. I mean, you see Neville ask him about it, didn't you? Why have you not been more pragmatic in your approach, but a little bit more defensive, sit players, close the gaps in the midfield? And it's like, if we're going for this proactive style and we're trying to drill it into the players, if I start going back against that and then players come back into the team, it's kind of you're not believing in your philosophy. But I've always said it's naive for what he's doing. I think it's naive. I think it's a little bit stupid. It's keeping it the same way. Like, you could be a lot more pragmatic in your approach in certain games. 100%. I fully believe that. But if he believes this is the best way to be sustainable and stick with it, he's got his fucking UEFA A badges or whatever it is. I don't have any. So you'd have to trust the manager on that a lot more than me. But fans can see it. You only want him to play for United because you like his face. This is football, not a foot pedicure. Okay. Put any other centre-back in that United team and they couldn't cope. Maguire is elite. I don't know if he's elite. He's good, but going forward, let's say, for example, right, Maguire's very good in a certain system. I remember Paul Mercer saying this about when he was at Leicester. He said, when you're defending the edge of the box and you sat deep, it's absolutely fantastic. Really good. People say he's amazing on the ball. I disagree. I think he's good at them switches of play. He can carry it, a decent amount, which we've seen a lot this season. But he's not amazing on the ball like Lissandro is, let's say, for example. He has one type of pass that he's decent at. For me, Maguire's decent in a certain system. That's why I'm saying he'd be perfect for Everton, perfect for West Ham, anything like that. You put him in a system at Liverpool where they're pressing the life out of teams and they play that high line, he's going to get exposed. We've seen it time and time again. And one of the issues with Man United this season has been the fact that we have these defenders who can't play a high line and don't like committing to the press. So you have this big gap here, and then you have all the forwards that are pressing, and then you've got the island of Mainu or Casemiro or whoever it is playing as that defensive midfielder. That has been the issue all season. Whereas you bring a Todibo into that back line or Branthwaite or whoever it is you want to talk about, that line could push right up. You can squeeze the press and everyone, and you can have that kind of cohesive unit and whatever you want to call it. That's my issue with Maguire. I'm not saying he's a bad player. I think he's done really well. I think he's been terrific and he's been an absolute rock. And also, he's been an inspiration for young players who are at the club. You look at someone like Marcus Rashford. I don't want to drill into too much, but you look at his body language sometimes, how committed he is. He's not really a great example for me personally. You look at Maguire, the amount of abuse he's received, all the shit he's been through, to come out the other end and be one of the most honourable, consistent players at the club this season. That's an example that you want, a real example. So fair play to him. I went off on a tangent there. I was going from talking about Elise to Finger. Anyway, let's do some updates for the game as well. We play Crystal Palace tomorrow night. Of course, we've already done the preview, which we did on Friday. So if you haven't seen that, please do check it out if you get some free time. But interesting discussions. What's going to happen? Bruno Fernandes is a doubt for the game. Will Mason Mount get his first start since November, I think it was, against Newcastle in the Carabao Cup when we got beat 3-0. That was his last full start. His last game was against... no, not his last game, sorry. Yeah, his last start was against Newcastle. Will he start instead of Bruno Fernandes? Will the midfield be Casemiro, Mainu and Mount? Or will it be Casemiro at centre-back, Kobe, Ericsson, Mount? How do we see it piecing up going into that Crystal Palace game? Let me know your thoughts. I want to hear him. Talk to me, people. Talk to me. Maguire is not a player who fits in a high line, high pressing team. He's made for a low block. 100%. 100%. We know this. Need experience like Giroud or something who can help Højlund learn. I don't know. Giroud's getting very old now. I know what you're saying. If you're going to go for that kind of different kind of striker or target man or someone who can link up play, just for a stylistically difference, I would go for someone like a Xerxes at Bologna, someone like that, just to change it up a bit. I really like Sesko. I'd buy him because of the release clause, but he's similar to Højlund. I'd rather go with a Xerxes or something, just in my opinion. But yeah, in terms of the United game tomorrow night, how do you see it lining up? Who do you think is going to play where? Will Bruno just push through the pain barrier and play? Most likely, because we've seen this with him before. Will Johnny Evans come in for Casemiro? Will he play at the back? Because I don't want to see Casemiro there again. I don't mind him there. I think he's probably been better there than he has in midfield. But again, he has his deficiencies done. He gets caught on transitions, and when pacey players are running at him, it's a bit of a problem. And I also think Mateta could cause him problems with the form that he's in a minute. Garnacho on the left, I actually feel like he plays better on the right from what I've seen this season. I think he needs to get more clinical He's annoying me a little bit with the chances that he's having and that he's missing. He had like 5 shots on target against Sheffield. He had a decent amount of chances in the Burnley game. Missed. And he's young. It's going to happen. He's only 19 years old. He's probably knackered as well for the amount of games that he's been playing. So that'd be interesting to see how the forward line lines up. And then you've got Martial on the bench as well. Good old Anthony Martial. Will he come on, give us the best 5 minutes of his life, and then piss off like the Shermanator in American Pie? Let's see what happens. 5 minutes and then he'll wander off into the sun, I reckon. Grace Sheridan says, look at Madrid. They play with wide forwards, 3-5-2 or 4-4-2 diamond would suit us. Yeah, you look at the way you set up with like a Bellingham and Vinicius or Rodrigo. I love the way Madrid play. Even if, like, because they could be really good defensively. But then when they hit you on that attack, they've got killers up top. Absolute killers. That's the difference. We don't have killers. Not yet, at least. When was the last time Man United used to play with 2 strikers? The last time I remember us playing, it was either like the one I referenced when Dan James and Rashford kind of played as a 2. I remember under Rangnick, I think it was, when we played Paul Pogba and Bruno Fernandes as 2 false 9s. Similar to where, Arsenal set up with Havertz and Ødegaard, I think it is. I also remember against Tottenham where we was getting battered in the previous games, and Ollie switched it up, I think, and he went to... was it Cavani and Ronaldo up top? I think it was. They're the last time I really remember us playing with 2 strikers. It's not really a thing anymore, is it? I know some teams do it, but the majority of teams play like a 4-3-3 or a 4-2-3-1 nowadays. Not to say it couldn't work. Leicester won a fucking league doing it, didn't they? But, yeah. A 3-5-2 could become an option if Tuchel came in, not with Erik ten Hag, but I guess it's the club that will decide the formation. Well, this is going to be interesting going into the summer because you need to know who you're recruiting for. You can't go into the summer with ten Hag, buy the players that he wants, get rid of him, and then bring another manager in, because then the players that are going to be at the club at the time are going to say, why have I signed for this club? When you're going to bring a new manager in who's going to completely change the formation about the system, what type of players he wants. It'd be interesting to do, actually, a video maybe, I might do that as a members video. How would Thomas Tuchel set Man United up and what kind of players would come in? Because we're struggling with centre-backs as it is anyway. A couple are going to leave. If you're going to switch to a back 5, you start looking at that. I think that'd be interesting. Yeah, I might do a video on that, actually, so great idea. United are in for Furlong Mendy. I like him. I think it'll be very expensive. I think if we're going to buy a left-back, I think it's going to be someone like a little gem or something. For like a 10-15 million quid. I don't think we're going to go out and spend a lot of money on him. I like the look of that Muniz striker from Fulham. Very good player. Yeah. I said this to back when we played Everton. I was saying it to my mate who's an Everton fan. I was like, if I was you guys, I'd take a look at him. He looks really, really good. I do like Tony, but his betting stuff worries me. Also, he hasn't scored in 10 games, I don't think, Ivan Toney. He's on a real proper drought at the moment. And also, I don't think United will go near him. That's the thing, if the club chooses players in the formation and the manager does not really matter much. Well, yeah, this is a whole kind of speculation what's going to happen with Ineos and who's going to be making the decisions, and do they just want a tracksuit manager basically just to coach the team and focus on that, and they'll deal with the rest. Sancho will come back if Tuchel comes in. Maybe. I mean, didn't Tuchel work with Sancho at Dortmund when he was there? He did, right? Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure he did. Why buy a left back when we have Harry Amas, one of our best? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Ashton, 100%. I don't disagree with that. You can always look to your academy. Always. Likewise with Camboarlo. Will he save us a bit of money? Kobe Mainoo's certainly going to save us a bit of money in the midfield rather than going and spend 60, 70 million quid. Garnacho will probably save us, 40, 50, 60 million quid. So, yeah. Who's the swap deal for Maguire? Jared Branthwaite, or as I call him, Branflakes. So, for Everton. Maguire goes to Everton, Branflakes comes this way. But I mentioned that at the start of the video if you want to go check that out on YouTube. More in-depth, that bit anyway. Yeah, I think that's everything. No, sorry, I had a little bit on Thomas Tuchel that I wanted to discuss just before I head off, because I saw some quote, again coming from Romano. Let me just get a quick swig of my Frappuccino. Sorry, people. So, this is a quote coming from Tuchel about Bayern Munich. It says, since we agreed to part ways, Bayern has been looking intensively for a new coach. I'm guessing even before our conversation, That's bad motivation to say then, let's do it again with you. Nah, from my point of view, that's clear. So he's obviously pissed off. Almost sounds like a quote from Top Boy, that. Nah, from my point of view, that's clear. Pissed off, he's got a point to prove, absolutely. People will look at what's going on with Bayern Munich at the moment and they'll say it's his fault and he's not doing right or whatever, blah, blah, blah. But actually, everything that's going on upstairs at Bayern Munich as well with, board members and all that kind of stuff has been a little bit mixed. It's not what you're used to with Bayern because they are a well-oiled machine usually. You look at the past 12 years, to get the decisions that they make. They sell players at the right time. They buy players at the right time. Everything they do as a club is works really well, usually. But for whatever reason, these teams have clashed a little bit with Tuchel and they don't like him. And similar thing with, Tuchel didn't work out at PSG, right? So he's been to 2 clubs and one might say he's failed. But also, don't forget, this season, I know he's the second or whatever, or finished second. Don't forget, they're coming up against a Bayer Leverkusen team who looks like they could do a treble and have gone unbeaten all season. That's some competition in it, you know what I mean? So, it's not to say they've been absolutely poor. They've had games where they've been a little bit sus, and there's been some questionable things, but I actually like Thomas Tuchel as a coach. I remember when he came in at Chelsea, right, and Chelsea were leaking goals under Frank Lampard, I think it was, all over the shop. As soon as he come in, the difference in how they defended and how many clean sheets they kept was outrageous. He won a Champions League final with him. You look at the team against the Man City team. He deserves some credit, man. He deserves some credit. And a lot of people like to slander him and slag him off, but I don't mind him as a coach. I think he's decent. He clashes with players. He's very strong in his approach, but maybe that's what United need at the minute. Maybe it's what we need at the minute. I'm not sure. Man United need De Jong. Oh, yeah, I could do an hour on De Jong. Sit here, spend an hour about how good of a fucking player he is. The last question I'll leave for you guys is Thomas Tuchel still a top coach? Would you take Tuchel at Manchester United? Yes or no? Right now, let's get a poll going and let's get people in the chat. What do we think? Ashton saying no straight off the bat. Let me know why as well. Don't just put no. Let me know why you wouldn't take him. Because out of the ones that are available at the minute, I don't know. I probably would. Yeah, I don't know. But is that me just craving a change? So, yeah. No says, I can't say that name. Henning says nope. Xavi Simmons says nah, mate. What we saying on YouTube? Liverpool's also doing the same thing. The club decided how they will play going forward, and they'll get players for the system. There'll be 2 teams that they will rely on more data than anything. Grace says I'd rather just get 4 good priorities and fill the rest with youth. I don't disagree with that. Munich are on their knees begging for Tuchel to stay, but he's not having it. Get Roy Hodgson, because our club is banner right now. Roy Hodgson. We are the mighty have fallen if we go get him out of his fucking chair. Arthur Werther's in his mouth. Tuchel is an upgrade on Ten Hag, says Charlie. Ashton says past his time is much better. Ancelotti has 1 year left. Wait and get him. I do think Ancelotti would manage the dressing room much better. I actually think he's a little bit disrespected, Ancelotti. What he's done in the game is fucking outrageous. The league titles that he's won, the Champions League. Crazy. Well, anyway, I shall leave it at that, people. Have a wonderful Sunday. We're going to be live again at 7 o'clock with Sam and Chivy. I'm going to be talking about a £200 million budget. Who would we recruit, bring into the team? And then Sam's going to make a decision on who's kind of brought the best players. We're going to be Dan Ashworth for a day, effectively. So come and join us at 7. I'm also going to film the tier list vid as well. And that's going to drop for the members. So if you want to become a member, click the link in the description or click the join button next to the notification bell. Become a Real Red Ultra member for exclusive content, a badge next to your name, and a chance to feature on the show. Apart from that, please do hit that subscribe button, people. We're on 4,953 subs at the minute, 47 away from 5k. So if you are on TikTok, hit the link in the description for TikTok and come and join us later on for the 7 o'clock show. I'll leave it at that, people. You're all a bunch of legends. Thank you for tuning in.